month of September and it's spring and all things are new. So I thought that we would just shift up a gear, but we talk a lot about moms and supporting moms. And one of the questions that we are continually asked is the one around socialization and how our kids can not end up being weird and unsocialized. And I think that's one of the big myths in homeschooling, that homeschool children are weird. They don't know how to socialize well, that they're going to have problems integrating into society, that they don't get to do sport, how they're going to measure themselves against peers, all that thing kind of is bundled up in the weird socialization myth about homeschoolers. So why don't you jump in there and share about your weird and unsocialized homeschool children?
Okay, well, some people might think they're weird, but we're definitely not unsocialized. We don't, well, besides when there's lockdowns and things happening, normal homeschooling families don't just stay at home in a cocoon. We're normally out and about in our communities. Our kids do sport. We interact with people from all walks of life, and most importantly, from all ages. That classroom bubble or cocoon is actually a fake environment, because everybody in that class is the same age and probably from the same area in the community, because you've got to live in a certain area to attend a certain school. So you're not actually getting that much diversity in terms of age and demographics in a classroom. So actually that's a fake environment. And I think homeschooling parents need to just learn how to answer these kind of questions when other people, often it's your friends and family, ask you this kind of thing. And another thing is that even those of us who attended school are not always the best socialized. There's some people that are just more social and outgoing, and some are geeky, nerdy, not confident, or not well adjusted. So the school system doesn't produce perfectly socialized people either. We are just all different. And some of the benefits of that is that our children are protected from the bullying and the labeling and those other social vices of being a child in a peer environment.
In a system. I remember going to an adult friend's birthday party and taking along one of our children, and one of the guests there was a clinical psychologist, and I could see them honing in on our child and kind of getting them into a corner, and I was quite grateful that it was that particular kid. And after about 10 minutes of conversation, you could see the whole face of the psychologist change as he started to interact with our child. And the comment that was made afterwards was that the reason why homeschoolers are seen as weird is because they can actually interact with adults. So most kids struggle with that because the only adult in their life beside their parents is generally the teacher. And the teacher in a classroom is, kind of up there next to God. You don't get to approach them. You don't get to speak openly and honestly. You can't express your feelings and your opinions because, of the teacher status. And I think that probably is one of the reasons why homeschool kids are considered different to the norm, because they are thinking from young and challenging their own thoughts and are able to interact and dialogue with a whole range of different ages. Yeah,
I definitely think it's more of an advantage than a disadvantage, actually, when you see the fruits of home education and that kind of self-confidence that they do have to engage with adults. I definitely don't think we've done our children any harm by not putting them in school for that reason.
Absolutely. And I mean, and as you said earlier, it's actually beneficial for them to be protected from not only the bullying, but a lot of the CAPS material and that sort of thing. But let's just quickly ask the one question which also comes up. We have addressed dads and their concerns around sport and socialization and that sort of thing. But if a parent is concerned about socialization, particularly with little kids. So you hear it often. I put my child in a play school for 3 mornings a week so she can make friends and learn how to socialize. What is your impression of play school socialization? Before I throw in my bit, I'm going to put you on the spot.
Well, this is not my impression. It's what I've read researchers say, that actually it's a jungle out there. It's survival of the fittest, because those little kids need an adult who can nurture them and guide them. But in a classroom scenario with one adult, with even if it's 10 children, they have to compete for attention of that adult. Whereas at home with a mom, even if you've got 5 children, your children know that you're there for them and they know that you love them. And there's that ongoing relationship with you that's different to a teacher. So they don't need to compete as much to get the care and the nurture and the attention that they need at home. And I think from the parents' point of view, you're far more committed to your own children than teacher is in a classroom. For most teachers, although there are people who do love children, but for many, it is just a job, and they've got the pressures of coping with other people's children and all sorts of other things. And so they just don't have that same depth of relationship as a mother does. So I think if you wanting your child to make friends, rather set up your own play group 1 or 2 mornings a week where you and even 2 or 3 moms just get together at each other's home, at a park, you know, and let your children learn to interact with other children over there. If you don't have siblings in the home where they're going to learn to fight and share and have to get along anyway, you know. It can be a challenge.
Go again.
I was just thinking, you know, some of my children have had good friends and some have just had very few friends, but I don't think it's necessarily because they were homeschooled. It's just their personalities and circumstances. So sometimes that can be a challenge, but it's not something that you can't overcome if you want to. You've just got to go and join sports, get involved with other families, church groups, community groups. Just make that effort if you're wanting more friends for your children.
So that's actually answered the question that I was going to ask, jumping to the other side of the spectrum, because I did find that my children's high school years were lonely. I mean, there were certain reasons for that were particular to us, like friends moving away to a farm and all that sort of thing. But those friendships still stood. You know, they're back together now, and the friendships were strong, even though the distance was there. But high school years do tend to be lonelier, which is exactly why you're saying get the kids involved in sports clubs, open up your own home. You know, obviously COVID is a bit difficult at the moment, but open up your own home to small groups, have pizzas and board games, and do hiking groups. You know, if it isn't there, then be creative and step into the gap and do that for your own family. A funny anecdotal story is that I was pregnant with my 3rd child, and every single day with my other 2, we would walk this little field loop, and there was the back gate into a play school. And my eldest she was putting so much pressure on us. She wanted to go to this play school, had to go to play school. And then eventually it came out that no, she didn't want to go to play school. She just wanted to ride on the scooters that she could see lying in the yard. So we arranged that she could go in and ride the scooters, you know, with the kids at their break time and that sort of thing. And then she was cured forever of wanting to be in that space with other kids. So yeah, you never know what the actual heart intent is. So yeah. All right, well, lovely chatting. Cheers.